All right, welcome back to the New Equity Network show. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Co-host is Jared Fabriello. All right, we're talking with Jeff Bacha, Chairman, President, and CEO, co-founder of DelMar Pharmaceuticals. Web address is delmarpharma.com. Symbol is DMPI. All right, Jeffrey, when we left off, you were talking about what you're doing in the way of lung cancer. Let me let you pick up where you left off, and that's not the only, you're also working on different types of blood cancer, and then I'd love to hear about the management team you've got in place there too.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. And you're right. We are beginning a new focus in non-small cell lung cancer, and as I mentioned, the interesting thing about the drug is that it's actually approved for a type of leukemia and for lung cancer in China. And so what we've done is looked at the data from research that was done here originally at the National Cancer Institutes in the United States, as well as some of the work that was done in China, and asked the question, is there a fit for this drug in the context of modern treatments of lung cancer? And traditionally, lung cancer has been treated not only with surgery and radiation, but also with chemotherapy and drugs that are based on metal platinum. Drugs like carboplatin and oxaliplatin are the mainstay treatments of chemotherapy in lung cancer. And so we've asked the question, how does this drug, VAL-083, our lead compound, match up in the context of how lung cancer is treated today, in terms of can we combine it safely and synergistically with a platinum-based chemotherapy? Can we treat patients who have failed the platinum-based chemotherapy, for example? And what we've shown in the laboratory and work that we've done with MD Anderson in Houston, with the University of California in San Francisco, as well as the British Columbia Cancer Agency, the answer is fortunately yes. We can combine to treat the lung cancer in preclinical models in a way that is better than additive, and we can also treat resistant tumors, which means that there's a place to address the problems that we have in lung cancer therapy today with a drug that, interestingly, is already approved in lung cancer in China, and so we can leverage that to move beyond our initial focus in brain cancer into lung cancer as we go forward from here.
Okay, you've got a who's who on the management team. Let's get into that, and then I think Jared wants to talk to you a little bit about what's going on with the company, the financial health of it, plans for the future.
Right. Well, our team, in addition to myself, I started the company with a fellow named Dennis Brown, who's a cancer researcher who's been involved in discovering and developing new types of cancer therapies for nearly 30 years. Dennis was the founder of a company called Matrix Pharmaceuticals, which was acquired by Chiron in the 90s, as well as a company called Chemgenics, which interestingly is really DelMar Part 1. Chemgenics was the same business model of taking a drug that had been originally studied at the National Cancer Institute and had some promise there, modernizing the understanding of the mechanism and really plugging it in where it makes sense in the context of modern therapy. And in that case, the type of cancer was chronic myelogenous leukemia. That drug is now on the market. It's sold by a company called Teva. The name of the drug is Cinrybo. And along the way, Chemgenics was acquired. And when that happened, the key members of the team, in addition to Dennis, people from the pharmacology group, the regulatory affairs group, the clinical development team, everybody spun out, literally changed the name on the door in California from Chemgenics to DelMar Pharmaceuticals, picked up the next drug that we were interested in, and started over. So this is a great team that's been successful in developing a previous cancer chemotherapy with the same business model, and we're just looking to repeat that success in hopefully a bigger and better way.
Great, thank you. All right, go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, Jeff, I had just a couple questions about really the health of the company and where you see yourselves in the next couple of years, assuming you do get FDA approval. What is your plan for expansion? What is your exit? Are you hoping to be acquired, or are you going to try to bring the drug to the market yourself?
Right. Well, I think that's a great question. We are obviously a public company, so accessing financing through the public markets is a part of our strategy. In terms of how we create a commercial opportunity, in a potential exit. Obviously, as a public company, there's liquidity in our shares for investors to be alongside of us or take profits along the way. But in terms of an exit, one of the things that interested us about the initial focus that we've taken on refractory glioblastoma, this is most common in an aggressive form of brain cancer, but we're treating patients that have really failed everything else. And the number of centers that treat those patients is relatively limited. And so a small sales force could, in theory and in practice, sell to those limited number of centers. So we're not talking about having to have 1,000 people on the ground talking to community oncologists. These are really limited number of academic medical centers. So the idea is be positioned to commercialize something ourselves. But of course, most companies like us are acquired before they get to commercialization. Chemgenics, the predecessor company to DelMar, is a great example of that. But what we wanted to be in the position of was to be able to take our lead drug all the way ourselves if that opportunity is in front of us. And I think we're well positioned to do that with the team that we have, as well as the fact that we've got strong clinical evidence from history that this drug works in the disease that we're focused on initially, glioblastoma, as well as in other types of cancers. So we think we're in a very good position there.
All right. You've got some strong inroads into China, which really helps on the international front. Are you getting any indications of interest from other countries outside the United States borders?
Well, of course, these types of diseases, glioblastoma, lung cancer, are an unmet medical need, not just in the United States, but globally. And now that we're moving into later stage clinical trials in glioblastoma and looking at new indications beyond glioblastoma, those are certainly the types of programs that larger pharmaceutical companies typically would like to market and be involved in development with. So certainly on an international basis, we are looking to expand our reach and also to enter into development partnerships that will accelerate and support the program and bring a new program in fact, and help us build a pipeline around this initial program.
All right, so it sounds like the prospects are very promising for a lot of new doors to open for the company.
We like to think so, and we're certainly working as hard as we can to move forward and reach success.
Okay. All right. I didn't get to ask you the various types of blood cancers that you're working on. I want to circle back a little bit on the product and see if you can open that up for us a little bit.
Right. Well, an initial focus, obviously, chronic myelogenous leukemia is of interest because, frankly, the product is approved there in China. But there are a number of other types of hematologic cancers or blood cancers that the profile of the compound supports the potential as well as the historical clinical activity. So acute myelogenous leukemia, AML, is obviously a big unmet medical need and something that is something that we will be looking at as we go forward.
All right. What else would you like to, from your position, tell the investors that are listening to the audience relative to the company, any milestones or things of the nature for moving forward? Where are you going with the company? We got about 2 minutes left in the interview.
Well, I think a main key message for us and what excites me is that we've got a drug that had promising activity 20 plus years ago that we've been able to modernize and through a good understanding of the mechanism really plug it in where it makes sense. So in a way, it's kind of pharmaceutical moneyball. We may hit it out of the park, but the chances of us getting around the bases with a team that's done this before and a drug that had historical clinical activity is pretty good. And so our job is to really bring it home, get this drug into the hands of clinicians who can treat patients that need this drug and really show the drug works the same way it did 20 years ago in the subset of the population where it needed the benefit of it today.
Wow. Very, very impressive. I want to congratulate you on all the hard work that you've done, and I know you do just great in the future. Thank you so much for being on the show, Jeffrey.
Very good. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. Jeffrey Bacha, Chairman, President, CEO, Co-founder, DelMar Pharmaceuticals. The web address is delmarpharma.com, symbol DMPI. You've been listening to Jared Fabriello, Michael Yorba on the New Equity Network show. Coming up next on the other side of this break, we're going to come back with Richard Groom, President, CEO, Urban Barnes foods.com.